You have joined the 2025 Countywide Resurfacing Program on February 14, 2025. My name is Tiffany Oliphant. I'm the Communications Manager here at WCRC. Here's the agenda. We'll go through some introductions. We'll go over some instructions, the presentation, and the Q&A. First, one of our first presenters will be Felix Weber Bailey. He's a project manager in design and construction. Kevin Dubnicki, he is also a project manager in design and construction. And finally, Ken Harris, he's our superintendent of maintenance. He will also be presenting today. This meeting, audio and video, is being recorded and will be posted to WC Roads. You'll be asked to virtually raise your hand during the Q&A. The chat is enabled and closed captionings are available. If you would like that, click on the 3 dots labeled More, located at the bottom of your screen. I will now turn it over to Felix, Kevin, and Ken.
Morning, everybody. My name is Kevin Dubnicki. I am a project manager in the Design and Construction Group for Washtenaw County Road Commission. Mr. Felix Weber will also be presenting with me, and we are in charge of running numerous projects for the 2025 construction season. Attached is the map of the Countywide Resurfacing program that will be taking place this construction season in 2025. As you can see on the right, they are color-coded to identify the funding for each of the projects, and it also identifies the project limits. Next slide. The construction schedule will begin in spring 2025, and the work will end in fall of 2025. Typically, the projects will run 2 to 3 weeks on average to complete each project, weather permitting. Some of these projects may take less time and others more, again, depending on weather pending and the contractor schedules. Prior to the resurfacing work, crews will perform forestry draining work if need be, and if you need to be informed, sign up for weekly roadwork schedule to be notified about all of these projects. The types of projects that we'll be doing is what we're going to discuss next. And the first one we're going to talk about is mill and resurfacing. Next slide. Milling to surface a roadway essentially involves shaving up to 2 inches of asphalt off the roadway. This type of resurfacing is performed on roads in fair to good condition, meaning that the road base is stable and does not need to be redone just yet. We're looking at a milling machine and what it looks like and what it's performing on the road. As you can see, the milling machine mills or shaves off the asphalt from the surface from the existing roadway and deposits these millings typically in a truck to be disposed of elsewhere. Once the existing surface of the roadway has been milled off, we clean and prepare the surface to be paved with hot mix asphalt to create a new roadway. During construction, our mill and resurfacing jobs will be performed under lane restrictions and flagging operations. The roads should remain open. Access will be maintained for residents who live and work within the project limits. However, again, please be aware that there may be times when equipment for resurfacing may be blocking your driveway. As I stated before, please reach out to me or road workers on site to coordinate any important accommodations. I think we skipped ahead here. So, yep, traffic impact, there we go. At the end of the day, we want everyone to make it home safely, commuters, residents, and workers alike. Please remember that work zones are offices for our road workers. You should drive through the work zone like it was your brother or uncle out there performing the construction. Take it slow and be ready for sudden stops. The next type of construction will be pulverizing and resurfacing. This type of construction is much more involved and completed on roads that may be in poor condition, rougher condition at the end of their serviceable life. Pulverizing a roadway involves taking the existing road surface and a portion of the gravel base, crushing and mixing these to create a new road base. This type of resurfacing usually takes place on roadways in rough condition. Once the existing road surface has been crushed and reshaped, we repave over this new base. Next slide. And the image you see in front of you is a pulverizing machine and what it looks like. As you can see, the road surface is being crushed by the machine, and then it is left to shape a new road base. Here is the asphalt machine that we use to pave over the new road that has been created from pulverization. To emphasize, when we close a road and you see barricades eating a road closure, that means the road is closed. Please respect the closure and find an alternate route for your destination. We have the road closed for the safety of workers and you. At this point, we're going to go through each of the townships and discuss some of the projects that are going on in each one of them. The first set of townships we're looking at is Linden, Dexter, Sylvan, and Lima townships. Within here, we have Dexter Pinckney Road between North Territorial and County Line, and Dexter Chelsea Road between Dancer Road and approximately Freer Road. Dexter Pinckney Road is a federal buyout, has federal money and federal buyout money, and it is estimated cost will be $738,000. There are going to be some lane restrictions and flagging operations, but the roadway will remain open. Next slide. Dexter Chelsea Road will also be a resurfacing project, federal and MTF money of approximately $918,000. This roadway will remain open during the construction process. It will have just lane restrictions and flagging operations during this. At this point, we'll have Mr. Felix Weber take over the next set.
Thanks, Kevin. My name is Felix Weber. I'm another project manager here at the Road Commission. So over in Lodi, Scioto, and Webster Township, we got 3 projects. We got Parker Road between Jackson Road and Dexter Chelsea Road. We got Jackson Road between Parker Road and Dino Drive. And we got Liberty Road between Zeeb Road and Scioto Ridge Road. For Jackson Road, we got this is going to be just a mill and resurface. Traffic's going to be maintained under lane restrictions and flagging operations. And we have a estimated cost of $395,000. Liberty Road is going to be the same thing. It's going to be a mill and resurface of the asphalt portions. There's a little piece. There's some concrete out there, and we're not going to be touching anything there. But it's going to be the same kind of thing. Lane restrictions, flagging operations, and our budget for this is $355,000. Parker Road, another mill and resurfacing project. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder widening on this one as well. So our estimated cost is $1.6 million, and traffic's going to be maintained under lane restrictions and flagging operations again. Bridgewater, Freedom, Manchester, and Sharon, we don't have anything going on in these 4 townships this year at least. And then same thing goes for Saline, York, and Augusta. I think Kevin.
Yes, sir. I get the big one here. So just to emphasize here on the other townships that we just referenced, it just means that we're not working on HMA projects for this particular season. There'll be other work that'll be going on, but we're only discussing the resurfacing projects right now. So doesn't mean that those townships won't have anything going on, just not the HMA for this year. Going on to the next set of townships, Ann Arbor, Northfield, Salem, and Superior townships. Maple Road, 7 Mile Road, Whitmore Lake Road, Nixon Road, Curtis Road, Earhart Road, Clark Road, and Geddes Road at Superior Road at the roundabout will all have resurfacing and crush and shape projects that will be going on. At Nixon Road, we're going to be pulverizing, resurfacing this particular road. It will take a little bit longer to complete this work. It will have road closures with the detour and the estimated cost being $950,000. Next slide, please. Next slide. The detour for Nixon Road will be utilizing predominantly Pontiac Trail to move around this. There will be some road closure right at the intersection of Nixon and Warren Road, where we'll be doing some culvert work. That reconstruction may delay things a little bit for Warren Road. It'll be determined at that time whether or not we let any through traffic through Warren, but at this point, at the Warren and Nixon Road intersection, just anticipate that that will be closed during that construction season, during that construction process. But again, I don't anticipate that this is going to be much more than a 2 to 3 week process for doing this work. Next slide. Earhart Road, we're going to be doing some resurfacing the road. This is over by Domino Farms. It's going to have lane restrictions and flagging operations. Estimated cost for this is $589,000. Next slide. Whitmore Lake Road will also be a mill and fill resurfacing project. We will have just lane restrictions and flagging operations. The roadway will remain open. This is federal and MTF money of $474,000. 7 Mile Road will be a mill and resurfacing project. Again, similar situation of lane restrictions and flagging operations. Estimated cost for this project is $355,000. Clark Road is, again, lane restrictions and flagging operations just for the resurfacing of this. Budget for this is estimated at $349,000. Curtis Road will be a resurfacing project. It will have lane restrictions and flagging operations. Estimated cost $230,000. And Felix, why don't you talk about Maple Road?
Yeah, so we're doing Maple Road between M14 and Craig Road. And as part of this project, we are doing the 2 northernmost roundabouts. We're resurfacing those as well. So in order to safely and efficiently accomplish this work, we're going to be closing this. The duration is just a resurfacing, so the duration is going to be around a week. But again, that depends on contractor scheduling and weather, but hopefully it should go pretty quickly. Our budget for this project is our estimated cost for this project is $428,000. And this will be going during the summer when school is out. I know Skyline High School is right there, and that's definitely a concern of ours. So we're gonna accommodate those needs. So that's the detour for it. We're gonna pick them up at Miller Road and Maple and send them down to Wagner and then along here on River Drive. We're gonna have to do work with MDOT probably to close that ramp on M14 going for westbound going onto Maple. We're gonna have to coordinate there, but it's gonna be a relatively short duration closure. So, and then Geddes and Superior, the roundabout. This is also gonna be a closure, probably about a week. Again, that depends on the usual contractor scheduling and weather. But we are doing the roundabout and then the approaches leading into the roundabout as well. We got a estimated cost of $528,000 for this. And here's the detour, or the detours rather. We got a detour for Superior Road and a detour for Geddes. It's kind of a long detour, especially for Geddes, but it's kind of all we can really do to maintain traffic on a hard paved surface. So sending up to Plymouth and Ford Road and then down Prospect. The detour for Superior is a little bit shorter. And then for Pittsfield and Ypsi, we got Gulfside Road between Packard Road and Clark Road. We got Holmes Road between, sorry, there's a typo there. US 12, Michigan Ave, and It's Ford Boulevard. And we got Waters Road between Oak Valley Drive and Ann Arbor Saline Road. We got Ellsworth Road between Platt Road and Carpenter Road. And then State Road between US 12 Michigan Ave and Old State Road. So for Gulfside Road, this is a mill and resurface project. It's going to be, traffic's going to be maintained under lane restrictions and flagging operations, and we have an estimated cost of $656,000. Holmes Road is the same kind of thing, mill and resurfacing. Again, we got lane restrictions, flagging operations to maintain traffic, and we have an estimated cost of $717,000. And Ellsworth Road, again, mill and resurfacing, traffic being maintained under lane restrictions and flagging operations. And we have an estimated cost for this of $605,000. And then State Road, this one's a little different. We're doing we're widening it out between Campus Parkway and Old State Road. We're widening it out to a 5-lane section. And then between Campus Parkway and Michigan Ave, we're just doing a mill and resurface. So to facilitate the widening work, we are going to be having a road closure on this one. It's probably going to be a longer duration, 3 weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, possibly a little bit more, again, based on contractor scheduling, weather. Then we have an estimated cost for this one of $728,000. And here's the detour. Textile Road to Platt Road, then Michigan Ave, US 12, back down to the intersection at State. And then Waters Road, this is a mill and resurfacing project. We got the lane restrictions, flagging operations. And our estimated cost for this one is $173,000. At this point, we're going to hand it over to Ken Harris, our Superintendent of Maintenance. Going to talk about our unpaved resurfacing projects.
Thank you, Felix. We'll get started with what roads we'll be covering this year. As you see on the map here, the 3 roads I'll be focusing on for this year's unpaved program will be Walsh Road, McCullum Road, and Bemis Road. In our limestone gravel road resurfacing projects, many of the scopes include some of the following activities: canopy cutting. We do drainage improvements, which includes culvert replacement, ditching, berming activities. We also do boom mowing, which would be also considered heavy brushing, where we clear the roadside to access the ditching and areas for improvement. We also install limestone or gravel. These 3 projects that we're going through this year are all limestone resurfacing projects. One thing to be mindful of when we plan these projects, canopy cutting will start as early as Monday the 17th, February 17th. There will be a period of time once forestry and canopy is completed that we will get back on drainage once the weather allows us to. And once drainage is completed, that's when the stone will be scheduled. So I will move into the first project that we got listed. We have Walsh Road, which is between Mast and Scully Road. This is a $80,000 portion from the millage. We've also worked with Webster Township throughout this partnership, so we greatly do appreciate the partnership that we have for Webster Township when it comes to this. There will be a daytime road closure. If we're performing culvert installs or replacements, that's when we may get into a full-time closure where the road has to be closed. Usually it'd just be during the daytime. Most of these activities will be completed during a normal workday. The next project that we have at hand is McCullum Road. It's a limestone resurfacing road that is from McCullum Road down to US 12 down the Burmeister Road. The price for that is $175,000, and that will be a daytime road closure as well. Lastly, we have Bemis Road. This is between Whitaker Road and Rawsonville Road with a price tag of $228,000. And this will be a daytime road closure as well. And then lastly, as mentioned, majority of these projects will be a daytime road closure. Access will be maintained for residents who live or work within these project limits. We will accommodate as much as we can, but we still have to perform the work as needed. And on here, you can gladly visit the project pages at wcroads.org and subscribe to receive project updates. Listed below is the contact information for Felix, Kevin, and myself. And then to subscribe to project updates, you can see the page listed here. Turn it back over
I'll take
to
it.
Tiffany Olafant. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Kevin, Ken, and Felix. I'll now show you, I'll come out of the presentation and I'll show you how to get to our construction projects. Bear with me. So if you are on our page, you go to wcroads.org. You'll go to roadwork and construction. At the top, on the top bar there, current projects. Screen share. My apologies. I don't believe I am screen sharing at this time. My apologies. Okay. You should be able to see my screen. Okay. Again, we'll start that over again. In your search bar, when you go on the website, you can go on wcroads.org. You can go to roadwork and construction, current projects. Click on that. It would give you to the roadwork and construction page. You scroll down to Countywide, paving, and resurfacing. There is a page with all of our projects that that all the project managers and Ken also explained. You can go on there and you can click on them. They're very interactive with a map. They tell you when the project is happening, the funding source, the description of the work. They have the contact information. And here, as you will see, you'll get latest updates when the road closures will happen. You can get that here and see that on the web page. You can also subscribe to our project updates there. You can put your email address, your name, and your zip code in. And then you click on your townships or what you would like to learn about, and then hit subscribe. And now I'll go back into the presentation. And then we will open this up for Q&A. On your computer, if you're viewing this, you have joined with audio. You can raise your hand by clicking the participants and reactions button at the bottom of your screen and then the raise your hand button. If you dialed into the meeting from your phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. As the meeting host, I will unmute all participants with a raised hand one at a time. I will announce your username or last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. We can begin with questions now. Let's see who has their hand raised. Do we have any questions? I'm not having any questions right now. I don't see anything in the chat.
Tiffany, I can see at least a couple questions, and at least one of them I can answer here. The question is from Don Stump. When will we know the start end times for each project? And that's very variable. We have numerous projects that we might be restricted on. At Jackson Road, for example, there's some MDOT work that is going on, so they're going to restrict when we can actually close that road and start that work so it doesn't interfere, because they're going to be using Jackson Road as a detour. And also, the projects still have to go out to be bid to the contractors, and so we don't have an answer from the contractor when they're going to start the work. So While in an ideal world, we'd start first things as soon as possible to get all the projects done on there. It's going to be up to the contractor. They have essentially the construction season to be able to complete the projects, with the exception on if there's anything that is overlapping or requested from MDOT or some other facility saying that you need to either delay or move this forward on this. So unfortunately, we will not have an official start date or end date that we can provide at this time. I would say keep an eye on the main website to see as we provide updates on when the work will go on, that's going to be your best option for that.
Thank you, Kevin. I do have a question from Carl Schneider. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
When they talk about Walsh Road, and canopy cutting and the tree cutting and stuff, it's going to be probably like every other place, right? Where are they going to widen the road? Or are they just going to, canopy cutting sounds like it's going to be a big tree chopping deal. And I talked to some other people on the road and they're wondering about that too.
Ken, can you respond to that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So canopy cutting, we do have to try to get the trees up a little bit because we are dumping gravel trains. The gravel trains can raise anywhere up between that 20 to 30-foot mark. So we do have to get some canopy cutting removed from that section of road. We do not intend on removing full trees unless they are dead and a hazard to the roadway. So there is some canopy cutting needs to be done out there. For that section of road, we've got about 2 weeks of canopy cutting out there. So we try to be very mindful of the trees, in particular, especially on Walsh Road. There is a lot of trees along the edge of the road. We do not intend on widening the road. We intend on keeping the road at the same width it is right now. We'll be installing about a 6-inch lift of limestone on that section of road. So the canopy cutting, we do have to perform some of that just to be able to dump those gravel trains. Also, the gravel trains will damage the trees in the process.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, so it's not going to be a butcher job.
No, we do not. We try to perform good work when we do canopy cutting, and we are very mindful of the trees that are along the edge of the road, and especially for residents that live along that section of the road. So
Okay,
we have a contractor. Contractor will be starting there actually on Monday, weather pending, to start work out there. They'll start over on Mass Road and be heading to the east to start that project.
basically just to resurface it, and it's okay. I was talking to a guy, he says they're thinking about coming down and he thought they're going to just go to each side and just wallop it, but okay.
No,
So
no,
not really.
That's not the intention. No, but if trees are removed, they are because they're dead and present a hazard to the roadway.
Okay.
Thank you, Carl. If any of the presenters or hosts are receiving questions, if you have those, feel free to say those on camera. If not, does anyone else have questions? I'll open the floor. Go ahead.
Tiffany, it
Go ahead,
looks like Andrea cannot raise her hand.
Andrea, do you
Looks
have a
like she'd
question?
like to be, unmuted if she could be, if you can find her in the
Okay.
chat.
Andrea McLeod, is that?
That's correct, Tiffany. That's what I'm reading.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is this. I'm on Bemis Road. I'm sorry, I'm driving for work. I'm a home care nurse. So let me just clarify, for Bemis Road, all you're doing is resurfacing of the limestone, correct?
Yes, on Bemis Road, we will be doing some minor drainage out there. Well, drainage, we got about a little over 3 weeks of drainage, which a lot of that is removing some of the existing berm and putting new ditches in there to allow the water to get off the road and equally distribute across the road. We have about 2 weeks of canopy cutting out there. We'll start that on Monday, weather pending, of course, and then a few culverts to replace, but we'll be putting about 6 inches of limestone on that whole section of road. Now, we do have the section that is, let's double check this, between there by Bunton Road that is paved. We won't be doing anything with that section
Okay, because when it initially came out, it implied that you were actually paving Bemis, which anyone that lives on Bemis and likes to be in the country was panicking because we don't want it paved. That's why we live in the country. So, okay, I just wanted to clarify with you on that, and that was all I had for questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrea. I actually have Skip. He says the corner of Curtis and Warren have been in bad shape for years, just like Warren and Nixon. The resurfacing of the T of Curtis is in need of resurfacing. Can someone address that, please?
Hi, Tiffany. So right now, I don't believe that Warren and Curtis Road is on our books right now. I am drawing a blank exactly where that Curtis Road intersection is at. So I guess what I'd have to do to respond to that is that if it's not between the crossroads that we have currently in there, which it's not, then it'll be on our schedule to be looked at a later date.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Skip, I can unmute you so you can ask your question. Oh, I cannot unmute you. Okay. Skip, he had the same question about Curtis and Warren as well. So we answered your question there, Skip. John, I can unmute you.
Thanks, Tiffany. John Pets with Domino's Farms. Very happy that Road Commission is going to be addressing Earhart Road. We look forward to the project. My only concern is that we've got probably about 3,000 people who visit the facility every day, whether as workers or more importantly, with our 12 clinics that we have out at health clinics that we have. And so a little concerned about having enough advance notice to advise the clinics so that they can let their patients know, so that they're giving themselves adequate time to get to the facility for their appointments. Is there any ability, or generally speaking, and I know you don't have the exact schedule, but how much notice would businesses have in advance so that we can advise our tenants and their clients and patients?
Hey, John, that's gonna be one of my projects on that. So what I would do is, please email me your contact information, and then when we have a better idea. Right now that it's not been out, the lighting isn't out, so it hasn't been awarded. So we haven't been able to start any conversations with the contractors and when they can start the work. One of the things we do is we don't have a set time frame and when they start and when they have to finish, and that allows us a lot of times to have better prices from the contractors, is what we found. So that being said, send me your contact information and then I can try to relay that directly to you if you'd like. When we know, when it's been let, we know the contractor and have a better schedule with that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
And also, John, please sign up for our roadwork advisory, our weekly. Those come out every week on Thursday mornings. So just so you know, just an FYI, that just comes out for everyone.
Tiffany and Kevin, the question about Warren Road was about Warren and Nixon. I think there was a confusion about Warren and Curtis. So, but the initial question was about Warren and Nixon. So I don't know if you guys could address that properly.
So Warren and Nixon, so we are going to be doing some improvements over there. Warren and Curtis also is an intersection that is on along the route there. So we are doing work along Curtis Road. So I guess there could be confusion that it could go either way. Is that, but we will be going into Warren Road to address the approach work on that. Same thing with along Curtis Road at Warren. We will be going in a limited distance in there for the approach work on that as well. But we are not going, let's say, significantly back on Warren. So I guess the answer for both of them is that we're going to be working on the approach work for those, but it's only going to go a limited distance back. So hopefully that covers the area that is of concern.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Skip just wanted us to make sure that we examine Curtis and Warren. He wanted to reiterate that point. Um, thank you, Skip. Are there any more questions to discuss?
Hey, Tiffany,
Yes. Go ahead, Bert.
if I could for a moment, I'm Aaron Burkholtz. I'm the Assistant Director of Engineering with the Road Commission. Just some of the items I've noticed as we've gone through the presentation today, and appreciation to all the staff that have participated, who have prepared for this meeting. Appreciation to Tiffany for assisting us and supporting this effort to communicate with the public, and certainly thanks to those in the public who have attended today. One of the terms that you may have heard mentioned during the presentation is HMA. So that's hot mix asphalt. And for us as road builders, we use that every day. And sometimes that can be lost on us that others might not know what that term means. So HMA is hot mix asphalt. As we were talking about road closures, I just want to make sure that we're clear that during a road closure, we still maintain traffic for local traffic. So for residents or businesses that lie within the closure limits for any one of these roads that would be closed, we ensure that you can get to and from your property, that deliveries or like trash pickup, that's going to continue during the road closure. Certainly wouldn't want anyone to misunderstand and think that a closure means you would not be able to get to and from your property. And then just making sure that we're clear on Holmes Road, and apologies for the error in our slides. The limits for Holmes Road is from Ford Road to the US 12 business route, better known as East Michigan Avenue. So again, Holmes Road between Ford Road and East Michigan Avenue, that's the portion that's going to be milled and resurfaced. So just a few additional thoughts that I wanted to offer, Tiffany. Thank you.
Thank you, Burke. Thank you. I'll go to the last call for questions, concerns. Okay. Well, I'm going to move on with the slide presentation here. And again, if you want more information, visit our project page at wcroads.org. Subscribe to receive project update emails. We send emails out daily. So all these projects will be updated as soon as they begin, like right before they'll begin, probably a week or so before they begin, to let you know. And the weekly roadwork schedule is updated as well. The project managers, their information is there on the screen. I will leave it up for you for a second there if you have to write it down, or just screenshot it there. Again, Felix Weber Bailey, Kevin Dubnicki, and Ken Harris were the project managers there. Again, we like to say thank you for attending our countywide resurfacing program.